All right, folks, we are back. Another Yankees Unloaded live. It's our second ever, and we thought the first one was good. So let's keep this train rolling. Gary, how you
Well,
doing, my guy?
well, all I'm saying is we went live and then we went 15-5. So, hey, that
Got
rhymed. But yes, it
yeah.
was it was amazing.
It was 30 runs, and right after I was just saying how the whole Babe Ruth thing, where it's like, oh, yesterday's don't help today. It's like, nah, babe, you were wrong. Yesterday's runs did help. Um, Now, of course, because you can't have everything you want. Right when it seems like they figured out the offense, Verdugo had to go out and be on the paternity list. So now I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I'm sure that'll affect the lineup. Can't blame him though. That's part of any job would have him off for that. But anyway, 19 and 10 after the 15-5 beatdown. I mean, let's talk about this game because the Brewers are a good baseball team. I've said that over and over again. This is not something that we should take lightly. This was an impressive outing, and like I'm really hyped about it because you know I don't feel like we got the best Stroman. Yeah, I know we didn't get the best Stroman, and you still come away with a win in games where Stroman pitched extremely well and you lost. So to see that, to see a 3-hit day from Judge, we'll have to talk about the slapping of the baseball. I don't love that, but we'll get into that. 2 hits from Trevino, 2 hits from Oswaldo, 2 hits from Glaber. He continues to hit.
We need him so
Four
bad.
four from Rizzo. Okay. Rizzo, and this is actually kind of funny. They had 4 home runs the night before.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 home runs in this one. Judge, Volpe, and Rizzo. It was Volpe's birthday, so he, got out of the slump in a big way with the home run on his birthday. So, how are we feeling about that? Because I mean, I thought that game was everything you could have asked for. They really just dominated the damn thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you have 18 hits, and I know a few of them were against position players and whatnot, but Babe Ruth made that comment that yesterday's runs don't affect today's game. And I get what he's saying, which you defended him a little bit. And I think we both agree. Yeah, like if you play really well yesterday, that doesn't mean squat today. But let's be clear, this Yankees offense had no confidence. They had some bad habits, swinging out of pitches outside the zone. It was becoming consistent. I talked about Volpe not being able to take walks. He took 2 of them today. So, of course, when you're talking about your leadoff hitter having 2 hits, that seems like a successful day. But what if he reaches base 4 times? Now, what type of day is it? Anthony Volpe on base 4 times is essentially going to be a W for the Yankees. I don't care who pitches. I don't care who comes off the bench, who's in left field, doesn't matter. When your leadoff guy has Soto and Judge behind him and he's reaching base 4 times, we are winning. So that's the reason why, and that's what we envision, not maybe to get on base 4 times, but to wreak havoc. And he did that. So I thought he set the tone early in this game, and we did not look back. This is a game I know you mentioned that Verdugo is on paternity leave, and we were going to address kind of like what happens there. And because now he's like one of our hottest bats, Verdugo was. So now knowing this, I was kind of going to go in the direction of saying that potentially now that guys like Judge and Glaber Torres and Rizzo have really woken up, I probably go defensive, like a defensive minded center fielder, throw Grisham in center, maybe throw Judge in right field and then go Soto in left field. I mean, we're talking like a day or two, right?
Yeah.
So this is not an extended period of time. I probably go heavier on the defense in the outfield, given the defensive. I wouldn't call them woes because we have picked it up of late, but I probably go a little stronger defensively in the outfield as opposed to what we've got in the infield.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you can do. What I found hilarious, and I feel like this is just the Yankees in a nutshell, because it seems like they make these kind of weird, personnel moves. They place Verdugo on the paternity list, and they call a catcher up. Like, what are we doing?
Well, you know what's so interesting about that is that we just brought Grisham, or not Grisham, Tonkin out there on the mound.
I know.
And you'd think, okay, well, clearly it seems like this, I would say Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone didn't necessarily have the confidence in anybody else to come out there, because you can't tell me that a 10th inning of an extra inning game isn't an important situation. You threw Michael Tonkin out there. Well,
I
doesn't
know.
that kind of like read between the lines? Doesn't it mean that we need another arm? I don't know. I clearly I'm not looking at this from the right angle, because last I checked, this team does not need a catcher. Right now, Wells is hitting the ball pretty hard. I know he's not getting the numbers to show for it. You spoke very highly of him, and I like the adjustment he made the other day, maybe 2 or 3 nights ago. But Jose Trevino is just flat out winning the job right now. He's raking. So given that,
Yeah.
yeah, I have no idea why we're calling up a catcher.
Yeah, it's odd. That's the only word I have for it. It's odd. So yeah, this is a big series. You know, the thing I love, let's take it a step back. They lost 7-6 in 11 innings the first game of the series. And you're thinking, here we go. They get their 10th loss. Yankees fans are in pandemonium. And
Yeah,
then they win.
10 will do it to you.
Yeah. And then they win the next 2 games, scoring 30 runs a pop for those 2 games. I love it. I understand people are going to be a little concerned. You lose Verdugo for however long. He went 1 for 6 last night. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world. I mean, you know, and this is still a really good lineup even without Verdugo. It just, yeah, you're going to have to find guys that can hold out. And I agree with you. I mean, Grisham has to hit. It really comes down to that for the time being, you know, and I think that, you know, this game, just once again, you see the 6 walks, the 18 hits. I mean, you don't need to get that every single time. But when these games happen, they're fun, and I feel like they're really momentum shifting. And Rizzo right now feels like he's on an absolute tear. He's hitting 277 now, and he's starting to look like Rizzo did at the beginning of 2023.
Yeah, that was
when we
career homer number 300, I believe.
Yes. Did you see Garrett Cole?
I did.
That
Garrett
was
Cole,
great.
I swear to you, is a little kid.
He's great.
He's just been an amazing Yankee, and we can't speak any higher of him. And by the way, I felt like this series was more of a momentum grabber heading into Baltimore. That was what I was looking for, because
I agree.
we had a light schedule, and then all of a sudden we were kind of penciling this area of our schedule and said, okay, now is when it gets busy. We want to make sure we take care of business, but we're going to be heading into Milwaukee. And then that Milwaukee series is going to get us tuned up for what happens in Baltimore. Well, Baltimore sent down their number 1 prospect in Holiday. Seemed like they were kind of losing a bit of momentum. They've won a few games, ran into Oakland. They end up splitting with Oakland or losing the series. Can't remember which of either,
I
but
think they lost the series.
they lost the series. So in our chat, we have Thomas Edwards saying that we needed an arm. Clay Holmes stays in that extra inning game instead of Michael Tonkin. Maybe we win that first game that we ended up losing 7-6. Perhaps.
Yeah.
But let's be clear. The main goal right now is to make sure that we go into Baltimore with momentum. And in my opinion, we are doing that. We are showing that this offense is not going to be a just getting carried all year by this rotation and Matt Blake. And a lot of people freaked out that we didn't go get Blake Snell. We didn't trade for Burns. Bieber ends up going down with a UCL tear. We didn't freak out. We relied on our arms. We relied on our staff. And that is proven to have worked. But this offense had to show up. We gave Brian Cashman credit for what he did, building this offense and actually building it balanced in terms of style of play, in terms of power, speed, young players, veterans. They did it all. And so when you're talking about all those different ways you can impact an offense, Brian Cashman still doesn't get out there on the field and play. Gleyber Torres still has to hit. Giancarlo Stanton still has to be his streaky self. He still has to play well. He hadn't played well in 2 years. You can go down the list of players that had something to prove coming into this year. So once they start performing, even the status quo, you saw yesterday and the day prior what that offense can look like. If they look anything close to that, we have a real chance to go into Baltimore and to do damage. So that's what I'm looking for. We need to finish this series strong. And then, of course, this live chat and these games in Baltimore are going to be nuts.
Oh yeah, dude. This is becoming a little mini rivalry because I mean, you know what it kind of reminds me of?
What's up?
It reminds me of like with football, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and they're kind of like the top dogs, the NFC North. And all of a sudden, the Browns just came out of nowhere. And maybe it's because they have the same color. I don't know, but it reminds me. And then the Browns, like their fan base started getting a little rowdy and be like, hey, well, we're here too, And it's like they're kind of the forgotten team. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was that long ago where Derek Jeter hit the home run against the Orioles. And I mean, that was, the playoffs. So it feels like the Orioles don't really like, we don't normally see them in the playoffs. And here they are, they're finally turning things around, which this is what's supposed to happen. This is why we have drafts and why the worst teams get the top picks. It's supposed to have kind of a, I guess a cycle, a cycle of life. And the Orioles, as long as you don't screw it up and you make good picks and, you develop these players and everything, you can really turn it around. And the Orioles are living proof of that. Adley Rutschman is obviously, he was the number one pick.
Houston Astros, they did the exact same thing. And
Bo Porter
killed us, man.
It was like, what, 60 wins?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't even 60 wins. It was lower than that.
Yeah, but in general, I mean, yeah, it gives you, the draft gives you an opportunity to get off the mat. A lot of these teams like the Yankees, people say, well, what are we doing with our draft? When we see teams like Baltimore bringing up Holiday and Rauschman, but of course, we're not drafting at the top of the draft, to which you have to be bad for multiple years running. Houston was, Baltimore was. And a lot of that was the Chris Davis contract, Manny Machado leaving for San Diego. So yeah, and being traded to LA. There were a multitude of things that happened that put you in position. And then all of a sudden it trickles down and we see them in 2023 competing at the highest level. And now they're our rivals, which is insane to say. But I mean, they're in division. I'd say still to this day, Houston is probably our biggest rivalry. I know they're butt this year, but let's be clear.
Right now, we'll see. We've seen Houston turn it around.
Don't scare me.
I'm not ruling them out.
I know, me either. I can't do it because the second I do, they're going to be the hottest team in baseball.
Oh, they'll be the hottest team in baseball. There's going to be a month where they win like 20 games. Yep. I'm telling you right now, it's coming. I mean, it is. We'll see with the Red Sox and all that. I mean, they're still desperately trying to keep this a rivalry. Seems like Yankee fans are kind of like, yeah, we don't really like the Red Sox, but you guys haven't really been good. So it's been kind of hard to have like a rivalry. And, Toronto is below 500 and Tampa, who the Yankees played, and we talked about it, that lineup is not good. The pitching, they're just so banged up. What's bizarre is for the first time in a long time, I feel like the AL East is kind of overrated. I feel like a lot of people just hate the AL East. It's like, oh, they're just automatically the best division in baseball. I think right now it's legitimately a 2-horse race. And this upcoming matchup, this series is massive because, I mean, we've seen it. The Yankees are holding on by a thread right now. And the Orioles, the reason why they're not ahead of the Yankees is because they blew it against the A's. To be fair, the Yankees split with the A's. So maybe the A's are actually decent. No, all jokes aside.
So the A's are underrated is what you're telling me. The Sacramento A's.
Yeah. All jokes aside, though, I think this is a huge series. I mean, you only get 13 games against this team all year. So you're about to play 4 of them right off the rip.
And then we have a good matchup. So I don't know if a lot of people have dug deep into the matchup that we're going to see, but that first game in Baltimore is Nestor Cortez and Kramer. So if you really look at the numbers
tonight,
no, 2 days from now.
I was gonna say it's
first game in Baltimore. Yeah, because I mean, of course, I still care about this game in Milwaukee. I want to carry momentum, but that big series in Baltimore, we do have a favorable matchup. And a lot of the Yankees, Judge hitting over 400. Rizzo didn't have as much success, but Stanton has a ton of success against Kramer. Gleyber Torres, same thing. Juan Soto. So if you look at those numbers, there are not a lot of guys in Baltimore who hit Nestor Cortez well. So I just tend to start looking at the matchups. I know we usually look at them in October, but this series is huge. We're kind of neck and neck right now. You want to see who grabs momentum early because you already know if someone goes and grabs 3 or 4 or sweeps this series, everyone's all hell is going to break loose for the other organization. Everyone's going to be beating their chests for the other. And I can tell you right now, if the Yankees sweep Baltimore, yeah, we're going to be talking that mess on this podcast. But
Yes.
we're also going to be very realistic with the fact that this team won 90 plus games for a reason last year. This is a very competitive unit. And you're talking about if Holiday, who's the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball, can give them anything, you're talking about a dude who gets an opportunity to slot the bottom of the lineup really with no pressure whatsoever. They've got the lineup already. It's more of a question mark of starting pitching. And if they can get that, they're going to be a problem. So this Yankees team is kind of have the reverse issue. Our pitching has always been fine. We always find a way to get guys out the bullpen. I see Thomas Edwards in the chat mentioning who we have returning from injury in terms of our bullpen in itself. Yeah, it's going to get even better. So,
except for Trevino, but yeah.
Except for Trevino. Exactly. Yeah, we're not going to let him slide in that.
No.
No, we are not going to let that name slide in the chat.
Oh, Lord.
But let's be clear. The Yankees have had one problem and one problem really solely over the years. And the reason they haven't won a title is that offense. Our offense has been inconsistent. We have not made the proper adjustments, whether it be to power pitching, being able to play the speed game, being able to move runners over, playing a grimy system of baseball. We have not done that. We tried to show up to October and September and be sexy and hit homers. And homers are great in October, but you need to have another way to score runs. We didn't have that. So if the Yankees can show consistently they can score, I'm not necessarily freaking out about what happens in this Baltimore series or anything, soon after that. I need to see it over the course of the season because when you talk about an offense that's consistent, hell, with Matt Blake at the helm, we're not giving up many runs. Like you kind of see that we squeeze that lemon and we get more out of less. You saw it with Clay Holmes. We got him from Pittsburgh. Everyone said, what the hell are they doing? And then sure enough, they said, well, Matt Blake's looking at spin rate. He's looking at that sinker slider combination. And we say, okay, I can see him working with it. And then long behold, it looks like why wasn't everybody on Clay Holmes, right? And so when you look at that, their problem in Baltimore is pitching. Our problem is offense. The last 2 games, we scored 30 runs. So I like where we're at.
I swear to God, if they do the same thing with Brubaker and the Pirates gave us another Clay Holmes, you and I are going to crack up on this podcast. Like it is going to be hilarious.
How about Miller? We get Miller from Oakland and we add a sinker ball to his.
Oh, good God.
Are you kidding me?
Is there a player that you would want more than Miller right now? I think I just love watching him pitch. Yeah, I just love watching him pitch so much. I'd take Miller over anybody right now.
Well, did you see the at-bat? So the at-bat that was so ridiculous with Miller in that Oakland series was Juan Soto. Juan Soto is a player of adjustments. He's like the king of it. It's the reason that you mentioned he's the best pure hitter in baseball. This dude showed up the prior day, just got completely shell-shocked. Okay. The dude shows up and he takes a fastball down the middle. He gets blown away. And you can see Juan Soto shake his head. Yes, usually, which is signaling to us, I'm going to make an adjustment to what you just did. That's what he's telling you. Okay, I see that you've got that. So you don't usually see Juan Soto beat the same way twice. That's what makes him such a great pure hitter. He shows up the second and third pitch. The fastball was, I'm pretty sure that the umpire was already making a call before he decided he was going to swing. That was how bad it was. Now, a lot of that is velocity. He's throwing 103, which we've seen before. We've seen it from Aroldis Chapman. But what people don't realize is not all velocity is the same. There's high spin rate guys. There's guys who hide the ball. And sometimes 103 can play like 105, 106 to certain pitchers. He seems like one of them. So, yeah, whoever gets their hands on him, I'm sure he's not going to be in Oakland long. It's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, he's just... Good God. I'm a big fan of his. And I mean, I was a fan of his, to be fair. I was telling you about him.
You were.
So you can see now why. If you just like baseball, like if you just like, baseball, looking at pitching ninja, stuff like that, then you can really appreciate him. Want to throw these to you. Bobby Malone 29, at Bobby Malone 29 on Twitter, a Yankees Twitter guy that I've been following for quite a while. The Yankees played 29 games so far, have been in 26 of them. That's a real good sign. It's early, so the team that's facing the O's tonight will not be the team that faces them in September. Remember that. And then this tweet was really interesting, Gary, because I didn't even think about this. Yankees are second in homers and second in runs in the AL, and that's while being shut out 4 times.
That's interesting because when you look at this offense, I honestly, that would surprise me. For you to tell me we're second in home runs, that's surprising. I'm not going to
In
lie
the
to you.
AL.
Yeah, but
Still,
that's
that's
still surprising.
crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a bit of a surprise because you feel like, okay, we've at this point, and we're talking about over the course of the season, we feel like we've gotten essentially nothing from Gleyber Torres. He was hitting under 200 until a couple days ago, right?
Yeah.
Trevino has been really good offensively, but in terms of contact, Stanton has been pretty good. He was really hot. He got really cold, and then he's kind of heating back up again. But Verdugo, it felt like he hit like a homer in Arizona, and that was like pretty much it. He hit a couple this last week. So it seems like we're kind of spreading out the wealth, which is different. It is different to what we normally do. So I think the fact that we're not just overly relying on Juan Soto or Aaron Judge to do all the damage, we got nothing out of Aaron Judge for the better part of a month. So having said that, the fact that our 7 through 9 hitters are remotely competitive, it kind of goes to show where the ceiling of this offense really is.
No, you're absolutely right. I think the thing that's only gonna, I mean, we've been talking about it consistently. The thing that's gonna make them just beyond more dangerous than they've ever been is the fact that they can win in a variety of different ways. They've been battle tested in these close games, having to steal, having to do hit and runs, push bunts. And we've seen it all, right? Wild pitches. Like, I mean, we've literally seen it all. We've also seen guys run off the crack of the bat when it goes right back to the pitcher, and it's an embarrassing out. I'm talking about Jemai Jones the other day. that was brutal. I still haven't gotten over how ridiculous. Like, how sometimes you're just watching, you're like, these are professional athletes. Everything they do, it's so fluid and it looks just so like athletic. That looked like the most unathletic play you'll ever see. The one where Jemai Jones is running home.
Yeah, I guess that's what we get for watching every game, to which we do. Any person in the chat or anyone listening today, we all watch every game. And this fan base, we're different. We are going to see all that stuff. I promise you, every single team in Major League Baseball has that one player that just is making boneheaded play after boneheaded play, just no mental IQ. Physically, they don't have it. And frankly, people don't really notice. Like, you can go to play in Colorado, hit 285 for a month, and you show up the following month and somebody is just seeing you for the first time going, oh, wow, he's really hitting 285. That's pretty good. That's not the way it works here in New York. In New York, we can go out there and win 4-2. And we're like, yeah, we talk about how the offense still didn't really figure it out. Like, even in wins, we analyze it. So this is just a different fan base. And that's the reason we're potting about it. So yeah, I'm just happy overall to be seeing an offense that scores damn runs, because we needed it in the worst way.
So Thomas Edwards brings up the point of making Heel a long arm out of the pen when Cole comes back.
That's what I said. Actually, no. What did I say?
Well, you and I have been saying Schmidt and keep Heel in the rotation.
Yes, I mean, because given the ceiling, yes, that's exactly right.
And, my thing is, I don't feel like there's a wrong answer here. Heel and Schmidt have been pitching well, and they both would have this stuff to be utilized in the pen. And this is just 1 year. Heel will probably take over for Nestor next year or something. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, is that, like, I agree with Thomas. It would suck because I love Heel. I love watching Heel. I mean, it's just he's got that stuff where it's like, okay, he's ripping 100-mile-an-hour fastball by these guys, and that's just not Clark Schmidt's game. But at the same time, like Clark Schmidt's been really good as long as he doesn't have to go through the third time through the order. And
It'll never be a Yankees
it,
Unloaded episode without
it,
Cheek bringing this up.
I
Can I
mean,
tell you?
it's dead accurate though. If you
It is.
follow what you
Yeah.
do, anyone who follows Clark Schmidt is locked in the first 2 times through the order. The third time through the order, it's like death, taxes, and getting smacked around, and that is just the way it is. It's guaranteed. I think Schmidt has it in him to get through the third, time through the order, and he's done it before, but all his problems occur right after a batter's seen him 3 times. If you've noticed.
Okay, so I like the idea. I like where his head's at. Thomas, I think it's an idea worth considering. But let me say this, and this is why I disagree. I wouldn't put Luis Heel in the bullpen for one reason, and really one reason only. His inability to throw strikes when he needs to is something that I wouldn't want to put in a shorter sample size and put more emphasis on throwing strikes, because one thing I know for certain is when Ian Hamilton comes out, when you've got Clay Holmes coming out the pen or Victor Gonzalez, and they're not throwing strikes, they don't necessarily have their fastball command for a hitter or two. A hitter or two of not having your command is enough for a bad outing at the pen. And one thing I know about Heel is that as that velocity starts to tick up, that command does not tick up with it. Okay. It goes right out the door with him. And one thing that we know is that Luis Heel over the course of this season has dialed back his fastball. Now, this is intentional. When he gets ahead of the count, he starts to dial up that fastball to 98 all the way up to 100 miles an hour. But you can see he misses the ball way up in the zone when he's throwing 100 miles an hour. And I talked about it, Jake, on our show, that when he is missing pitches above the zone, but he's ahead of the count, guys may be offering at that. But the issue there is that when you put someone in the bullpen, you essentially are saying you are now a max effort guy. It's very unlikely that a player is going to come out and pace himself with velocity out the bullpen. Not very likely. Most players that have ever gone from the starting rotation out to the bullpen have ticked up in velocity. So my worry is that we're setting Luis Heel up to be a young player and setting him up for failure in the bullpen. I like what he's doing in the rotation. We're giving him time to get settled into each of these games, giving him time to settle in his velocity and his fastball command. So I leave him where he's at. I think he's done a spectacular job. I know he wasn't excellent the last time he went out, but I like overall where he's at. I trust Clark Schmidt much more with a guy on base. He's got to be in the zone. He's got the movement to get it done. He can get the ball on the ground when he needs to. I like that option out the bullpen a lot better.
Yeah, I like that explanation. That was really well thought. I think it's funny. I didn't expect you to go that route. I thought you were going to say, I disagree because when Cole comes back, I want a 6-man rotation. And I think that would be fair. I think a 6-man rotation should actually be the move, if I'm being honest, because I think in that way you kind of keep Cole. It's almost kind of like hand holding, but you can do it because you have the rotation to do it. You wouldn't do it if you had guys barely scraping the surface. Like, I mean, you genuinely have 6 starting pitchers that you would be fine pitching like any day with. That's the reality in New York is they have one of the best rotations, period, in baseball right now, whether people realize it or not. And it's not perfect. They're not going 8 innings every night, but no one else is really. So, I think they wouldn't send him down, Thomas. No, I don't think they make a trade either. I think I'm going to make the prediction because I don't think they're going to move any of them to the pen. I think we're going to go into a 6-man rotation. That's what I think. And I think the rationale behind it is because they are going to baby the hell out of Garrett Cole, because the whole point is making sure that he's good to go for October. And if, by giving him an extra day's rest, I think they're going to do that. And maybe that comes after like the All-Star break or whatever. But I think, Gary, I really believe like they're going to try with the six man. And it wouldn't be the
Well,
first time either. They've used a six-man rotation before.
yeah, Jake, let's be clear though. It's not really just babying Garrett Cole. Going six-man rotation isn't just to Garrett Cole's benefit. This also could be used in
To all
terms
their
of eating
benefit.
innings to help all these guys. Let's remember, the number one concern I had this season wasn't actually Carlos Rodon. It wasn't Garrett Cole. We all thought Garrett Cole would be great. My biggest question mark was whether or not Marcus Stroman can give us consistent innings. He's been a very good pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's been consistent in this league. The problem for him has never been his strikeout rate. It's never been his ground ball rate. No, he's pitched very well. Here's his problem. 2023, he threw 136 innings. Year prior, 138. He goes 179 the season before that. He doesn't throw 180 innings before that since 2019. So you're talking about a player who has consistently given, and this is not my opinion, these are the numbers. He's consistently thrown 135 innings a season. So when you consider that, that's not a pitcher who you can expect to be the guy that you see today. You can't expect in August you're going to see the same guy. You can't even really have the expectation he's even going to be there in September. So how do we best tee it up for a player like that to be around in October where we clearly need him? Maybe a six-man rotation. Perhaps. I'm not saying it's the answer, but the fact that, Jake thinks that it is an answer, and these numbers seem to suggest that the Yankees should consider it at the very least. So I think that could potentially be a move. Now, of course, there are drawbacks. You get guys out of routine. There can be some side effects there, but do the pros perhaps outweigh the cons? Maybe.
I'm surprised in the day and age that we're in where pitch count is so paramount and guys aren't even getting through 5 innings and you're feeling good about it. There's no more like 7 innings consistent. I'm surprised in this day and age that we don't have 6-man rotations as like the norm. Because I mean, we have all these other things as the norm, and baseball's changed so much since your dad was in the league.
Yeah.
Think about that. Wasn't that long ago, but it's completely changed. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the 6-man rotation, if you're trying to, especially with all the arm injuries and everything, I wonder if we start to see more of it.
It makes sense too, because think about it. It's not just velocity's up. Breaking ball usage is up.
Yeah.
And people say, well, this guy from 1995, God, could you imagine he would be destroying it in 2024? Well, the league has changed. Guys, they realize over the course of the season, the more fastballs you throw, the higher the chance you're going to get hit. Now, when you're throwing a lot of fastballs and your velocity is not high, you're not cutting it, you're not sinking it, you're not moving it, hitters are going to hit you no matter how hard you throw. So what did pitchers do? They tried to increase spin rate, getting the ball to carry through the catcher. It's going to seem like the ball is going above their bat. It's going to seem like the velocity is higher than what the radar gun suggests. And it's going to make you more jumpy to breaking balls. Breaking balls are going to snap even harder. So when guys are throwing harder, they're spinning the ball harder. They're moving the ball more naturally with the increase of spin rate. And they get rid of spider tack so guys can't grip the ball as strong as they could before. Well, doesn't that all lead to gripping the ball harder? You're already throwing the ball harder. Well, how can that possibly be better on your arm? It can't be. It's not possible to be. So having said that, some type of adjustment has to happen when it comes to pitchers alone. And perhaps that adjustment is giving an extra guy in there in that rotation to give a guy an extra day. Maybe that's the solution. I'm no doctor. I'm no expert. I'm just laying out the facts of what's changed about baseball. You turn on a game from 1992, it doesn't even look like the same product. It's like watching the NBA in 1993. Jordan shoots a mid-range turnaround. They go, well, that was awesome. In the NBA today, guys aren't even trying to do that shot because it's statistically not the best way to score. So that's the way that the game is changing. And will baseball convert to a 6-man rotation? I think long term they probably do.
I think so as well. I mean, think about it. It wasn't that long before we started to see, well, if you're a good team, you need two aces. There's no such thing as just one ace. Then we started having power ace and all these different terms. And it's like, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, the game just evolves. Um, Thomas, you see what I said about Dominguez? No, I did not.
Did we
Let's
have
see.
news on Dominguez?
Also, Dominguez ahead of schedule. What happens when he gets back? Because Judge, Doogie, and Soto are still my perfect outfield, but if Stanton doesn't, then question mark. Um, yeah, it's funny because see, we're talking about the pitchers and how it's an easy solution. Just make it a 6-man rotation. There's no rule against it. Well, baseball, unfortunately, you can't have 10 in a lineup. So there is a
It
rule
is a
against
problem.
that.
And
So
like I said, we've always said it's a good problem to have, but it's
yeah,
not either. Like we don't want to have a
no,
guy like Verdugo who's hot, and then say you throw in Dominguez and he's not ready for 2 weeks. Then what do you do with him? Right. So it can
it's
be a
tough.
huge, yeah, it is a very tough situation.
I mean, and also because I've seen just throw him at first base. Well, now Rizzo is playing out of his mind. So it's like you got to keep him in the lineup, and you can't just be like, all right, well, Jason Dominguez learned how to play catcher. Doesn't work that way. I think really this kind of goes to show you why, and it was brought up in a comment like, hey, do you think Verdugo should be extended? And my answer is no. Because I think Verdugo knows what his role was. I think he'll love to, he'll love his time here and he'll probably want to stay. But as far as the Yankees are concerned, I mean, if Jason Dominguez is ready to go and you're committed to Judge in center field, unless Rizzo leaves, right? If they don't bring back Rizzo, you move Judge to first, you bring back Verdugo as your left fielder and use Jason Dominguez in center. Unless you do that, I don't see a role that's available for Verdugo because you can't, like, Jason Dominguez isn't somebody when he is healthy. He's not somebody to just, really baby at this point. Like, either, I mean, I think you could really cause some damage to his, development and his confidence if you were to go ahead and do that. So it was a good question, but now that I think about it, I would probably say no. I don't think the Yankees are going to bring back Verdugo if the plan goes according to plan. Now, again, if Rizzo doesn't come back after this year and Judge is moved to first base, now you have an outfield spot open. You can slide, Verdugo right in there. And one could argue Verdugo's glove is good enough to do that because, I mean, he's made some plays in left field that, I mean, we haven't seen since Gardner.
Yeah, I
I mean,
still
simply
don't think it
put,
works. I really don't.
it
Let me
really
tell you
doesn't.
why. Think of it this way. Let's assume that Aaron Judge is going to move to first base, right? And I'm not sure if that's even going to happen, but let's pretend it does and it works perfectly. He's a great first
I
baseman.
don't know. The way they acted about Bryce Harper, I don't feel like it's ever going to happen.
I know. But
That's the scary thing.
let's pretend it worked. Well, here's the problem. Juan Soto, we can expect that the Yankees are going to try and bring him back. Jason Dominguez will be out in the outfield, right? So you're saying, okay, he's the center fielder of the future. And if you think he's too big to play center field, he's in left field. Well, who happens to be the Yankees' best prospect right now? Spencer Jones.
Yep.
Spencer Jones is not 4 years away. He's not 3 years away. He's close.
No, he's
So
very close.
if Spencer Jones is the player that we all expect him to be, and we expect him to be a very good player in this league and to have a ceiling that is higher, frankly, no offense to than Alex Verdugo. Now, having said that, you don't bring back a guy on because Verdugo in the way he's playing like a $10+ million a year player. That's the type of effort that we've gotten out of him. Well, the last thing that a team with a payroll at $300 million needs to do is pay $10 million to a guy who could potentially be sitting behind not just Judge and Soto, but your two top prospects. I hesitate to call Dominguez a prospect. You saw last year, the dude's a star.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not a prospect. He's a Yankee now. He's just an injured Yankee. So if he was healthy, he'd be out there in front of Verdugo as we speak. So that's where I say, just because I say no to an extension on a player like Verdugo for next year does not mean I think you're not good enough to be starting in left field for the Yankees. It means I think we have better options. And if we have better options, we can allocate those funds that would have went towards you, and we can spend them on a player. Maybe we bring in another arm. We can fill out the roster in the way that fits the best for this team.
No, I absolutely agree. Spencer Jones, and this is kind of the funny thing, is that he gets kind of the ETA of like 2026. Guys, he is
Not
right.
even a shot.
No, he might be a late call up. I'm not kidding. He might be on the postseason roster. Don't discount it. And the reason I say that is because he made the really key adjustment, in spring training, how he changed that uppercut swing a little bit, made it more level, started seeing immediate results. I remember we talked about it on one of our shows early on. Yeah, Spencer Jones, trust me, guys. When we're able to get into the real like swing of things, we're gonna do more reports, I would say, on like minor league players and keep up with it. I mean, Gary, you already know I've been talking about Tristan Vreeland, who's like been a stud in Double-A. By the way, I'd like to point out, and I said this to you via text, the Somerset Patriots are absolutely loaded. Like Double-A Yankees are just filthy. I mean, it's every night. Agustin Ramirez here, Ben Rice here. I mean, you got, like I just mentioned, Spencer Jones.
Do you know what Spencer's doing right now in Double-A? And I'm sure you do. The dude's ops is 1,000. He's hitting 350.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. He's going to get called up to AAA soon. But at the same time, like, why do that? Like, you have this great lineup, and the Patriots probably don't want to lose any of these guys. They're probably making bank.
Welcome in, man. We're just freaking out about prospects right now. That's what we do over here. Yeah, we're nerding out about these guys.
Well, apparently we're not the only ones. Thomas Edwards went all caps on us with Ben Rice.
Ben Rice has been a show. When do you see dude? They put him in the DH spot a couple times. It kind of goes to show you what bat we're talking about. Like, we're talking about some guys, and let's be clear, I'm in the minority here where we're talking about Yankees prospects, and I've always thought, man, why do we overrate these guys? We act like the Jesus Monteros are going to be the next. Everyone who's like a switch hitting guy is the next Posada. This guy is going to be an ace, and we kind of talked about it. You can't just project everybody to be a superstar. Like, at some point, you need contributors and guys who have more realistic expectations. And I've tried to do that over the years. Some guys were freaking out over, and I said, I don't really think he's worth that much hype. But when you go watch the Double-A team right now for the Yankees, they've got guys producing, not projecting, producing. They are on the field giving us numbers. We're not watching YouTube videos of them hitting a ball 500 feet and then saying he's 16 years old. No, they are going up.
It's not rookie games. Ball either.
Yeah. Like, so it's exciting because it's the first time in a while I felt like the Yankees were getting aggressive with their big league team, calling guys up early, getting guys to contribute immediately. And then at the same time, we still have options down below. We're not thin. So that's something that I haven't seen in years. And hopefully, because there's no guarantees, hopefully we can either trade some of these guys in for an arm or for a bat that we desperately need, or these guys are a part of the future. Because, I mean, if they are, the future looks good.
It really does. I mean, I mentioned Vreeling, and he's not even the guy that everyone knows. Like, people know Warren and Chase Hampton, and yeah, it's been fun to watch. Oh, Brock Selvage has also been crazy. I mean, Somerset is absolutely loaded. It's probably the most loaded farm system team of the Yankees that I think I've ever seen. I'll go on record and say that. I mean, didn't it feel like every single night Agustin Ramirez was hitting a home run?
Yes. Yes.
Every single night. And then you look and you're like, they've played 8 games and he's got 7 homers. And oh, by the way, Jack Neely, who's also part of Somerset, who will definitely be in Scranton soon. 11 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 5 walks, 17 strikeouts. He has been in relief. He's been a relief pitcher, and he's 23, 11th round pick out of Ohio State, according to Yankees Prospect Watch. They have like so many of these guys.
Yeah,
They're
and we
just
have a
everywhere.
Clayton Beater. Yeah, we have a Clayton Beater mention in the comments. And you know what? The thing is about the Yankees right now is that a lot of the arms that you see in the system, they don't have to project right away at the top of the rotation. There are a lot of guys across Major League Baseball who did need to do that. You saw it with Walker Buehler in LA, right? You bring up some of these the Grayson Rodriguez in Baltimore, and it puts a lot of pressure on these guys. These guys are not in that situation. It's part of the reward for going and spending $360 million over 9 years on a Garrett Cole is that slot is already taken. We need guys like Beater to come out and be productive. Luis Heel, there is no pressure in this rotation. He gets to come out almost with the feeling of a 4 and 5 starter, but he's got the stuff of a 1 or a 2. So that luxury is going to continue to be, it's just going to be a reward for the Yankees long term, because you don't want young guys to come out feeling like you got to be the next Strasburg to be productive at the big league level. So the fact that we have that situation, I'm feeling very confident about those guys.
It's funny because, the Yankees have that off season. They go out and, they get Benintendi and, they make the move for Montas, and you're thinking, oh my God, they just totally unloaded, the farm system. And I mean, let's start off by saying this, Gary, I'm almost positive, and let me know if I'm wrong. Didn't they overhaul their farm system within the last 2 years? They did some like crazy overhaul. I think if I remember correctly, they were like, you had brought it up. They were teaching hitters not to only hit home runs.
Yeah. Home runs and walks were, to be exact, guys, it was home runs or walks were essentially the only thing that counted for anything. And then if you hit a single or did anything else, it was just nothing. You put the ball on the ground, they're like, no. And we know what they were trying to do. They were trying to increase launch angle, not hit fly balls. Like, we get it. They weren't trying to get out. But it was an over pursuit of what's considered successful today. And it doesn't work. We were overindulged in analytics, and we forgot that analytics are a tool. Analytics are meant to be used to help you. They're not meant to be the holy grail. And it seemed like the Yankees were a bit too new school, if that makes sense. They were getting a little bit ahead of themselves. And what's so funny about the point you just made about our system being washed away on Gallo and all these guys in these trades, it reminds me so much of yours truly, those Los Angeles Rams, where everyone said they traded those first round picks. They must be gutted in 2023 and 2024. They go get Puka Nacua and they go get a running back or two in the 4th and 5th round. And next thing you know, people are like, where'd all these guys come from? Well, they didn't do their homework on what the system actually looked like. So that's the beauty in baseball, is that trading 1 or 2 guys will never kill a system. It never will and never has. And if a team trades away 1 player, this is the reason why I always tell people to never freak out about prospects. Did you know that Yordan Alvarez was a Dodger? Some people know that, some people don't. But they missed going to get James Shields. Was it James Shields? No, I don't even remember who it was, but I think he was like part of the trade. Yordan Alvarez, long story short, was traded from the Dodgers.
He was.
Now, when that happened, everyone would think usually, well, we just lost a Hall of Famer. Yordan Alvarez will be a Hall of Famer in this league. Well, that's a killer for the Dodgers, isn't it? Nope. It's not. Because your habits long term, if you build properly, if you give young players an opportunity to play, you put them in the right situation to succeed. We've done it with Volpe here in the short term. You can lose on a few guys and make the wrong choice here and there. Maybe you pick that apart a little bit, but long term, we're fine, man.
I agree, man. I agree. I think, just looking at their farm system right now, I mean, everyone's really excited about Arias. He's in single A right now. He has an ETA of 2027. He's 19 years old. I remember when they signed him when he was 16. He's somebody that he's going to get called up to Somerset, and they're just going to just absolutely just destroy teams. I mean, it's going to be laughable. Um, but I'm almost more interested in George Lombard Jr., who's also on that same single A team and is a year younger than Arias. Currently, he's the sixth prospect, the shortstop in the farm system. And I understand people are going to say, we have Volpe. These guys aren't playing short. Just trade them. But I mean, Arias could be your third baseman of the future. Arias could be your second baseman of the future. Like, you don't know. And, to me, when you have an infield guy, it doesn't matter if he plays short, third base, whatever. How many times have these guys changed their positioning? I mean, it happens all the time. I think looking at what you have with this Yankees farm system is, yes, you have a lot of guys that are in rookie ball at the top. Brando Maea, who's 18, he's in rookie ball. Henry Lelane, I've brought him up on the show before. People are very high on him. He's 19 in rookie ball, the 6'7" pitcher. Remember I was telling you about?
Yes.
Selvage is in double A because, of course, the Somerset Patriots are absolutely loaded. I mean, let's just talk about that. I mean, they have Danny Watson here, who's 23. He could be called up this year. Tyler Hardman.
I'm getting depressed looking at these date of births. I'm sitting here looking at these Yankees top prospects and just seeing guys who are making impacts. We're talking about playing well, not projected well, playing well, putting up good numbers. I'm seeing 2005, 2004. That is depressing, man.
Dude,
I was in fourth grade when these dudes were born.
Selvage has honestly been disgusting. He's 2-1 with a 1.88 ERA in 4 games, 24 innings pitched, only 12 hits given up, 6 walks, 25 strikeouts, a batting average of 145. I mean, this is what you have to look forward to.
It's ace stuff. And of course, it doesn't always just project that way. But in order to be a great pitcher in baseball, that is the prerequisite to being a great pitcher in Major League Baseball is you dominate those dudes. Because you can have people from other organizations, we're talking about fans, of course, that will tell you, who gives a rat's ass? That dude's dominating high A baseball. Well, every single guy that you could ever mention in the history of baseball, you want to talk about Tony Gwynn, you want to talk about Barry Bonds, you want to talk about any of those players who made their mark in this league, they're putting up these type of numbers. So we look at those indicators and then we see how they project for the Yankees. Because if the Yankees want to return to glory, let's be very clear about this. 2 things need to happen. Hal Steinbrenner needs to be aggressive, into which I feel he was pretty aggressive this offseason. I feel that I felt like he clearly got in the ear of Brian Cashman and said, you need to get more aggressive. Long behold, they land Juan Soto from San Diego. Huge move. But here's the most important one. They need to do that while developing players. You don't develop players. We've got a 1 or 2 year window. That's what we're looking at. And so developing these guys gives us an opportunity to maybe a year, 2, 3 years from now, and you say, okay, Giancarlo Stanton, maybe a year and a half from now, is unplayable, right? You project it to that. We're still paying him over $30 million a year. Well, hold on a second. I've got this kid who's 22 years old, who's performing in AAA. We've got an option here. We can potentially have DFA situations. We can have trade situations. There's all types of rewards that the Yankees will reap by paying attention to what's happening with these kids right now. Sounds ridiculous. Sounds like you should be just focusing on Baltimore and focusing on Gleyber Torres getting hot, Juan Soto getting hot. No. These guys will help us be good long-term. And please tell me what you're reading right now. You're freaking smiling ear to ear.
Alex. our good pal Alex, double X Alex.
Oh my gosh, Alex, what's up, man? Yeah, we are old. Yeah, I'm a 93 baby. I'm used to my 2-way pager
95.
in Milwaukee. So yeah, we're getting old, Alex, and that it is what it is, and it is depressing seeing a bunch of top prospects just raking for the New York Yankees and guys like Ben Rice who are hitting and these dudes are born in like 02, 03. It's depressing, man. It just is. And I'm not letting it go.
I know. And I feel weird now when I'm like, oh, he's old. He's getting up there in age. He's 29. It's like, wait, I'm going to be 29 this year. No, it's cool though. we're talking about these guys. We're talking about all these. I'll say this. With what we're doing and what we want this show to be, what we want this channel to be, we are going to be talking about prospects as well. And Gary, I think we should commit to it now. I think we should go in on the MLB draft, at least in the first round, figure out who makes the most sense for the Yankees, do some research. I'm pretty excited about it because we have a platform now where it's like, yeah, MLB draft in the past. I mean, I've gotten into a few of them. Just so happened the one I got into was Judge. And then the other one I got into was Spencer Jones.
So we need your luck. Oh, and by the way, see, this is why it's so important to have people chatting, okay, and people leaving comments for us, because earlier on in the show, we talked about the fact that Verdugo is going on paternity leave. The Yankees ended up calling up a catcher in his wake. Well, let's be clear. Matt Chinnery says that they called up a catcher because they want to give Wells or Trevino a day. Okay.
Okay.
That's the explanation. I'm sure that must have been, it seems like it's coming from a place of a quote. So we can't be sure, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I will say this, I'm not really all for giving young players a day unless they're like really struggling. And Austin Wells has actually been playing well of late. So yeah, we got Austin Wells again today. Wow, Wells has slid up there in the lineup. Interesting.
Yeah. So Austin Wells is way up there. I'm not against that. You got Rizzo cleanup. Rizzo hitting cleanup actually is the perfect replacement because he's hitting like out of his mind right now. So that's the perfect replacement for Verdugo. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good lineup tonight, The only thing I'll say is that I don't love Grisham, but you don't really have an option.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
What's that?
Is there anything that stands out about this lineup to you? I'll tell you if you don't.
Wait, Aaron Judge is in left, and didn't you just say? Didn't you just say that you're like, yeah, I'm not saying it'll be permanent, but I'm just gonna.
Are you kidding me,
dude? I can we keep him in left?
How weird is that gonna be?
That'd be better for his career.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, like left field, like sure, but I mean, the one thing I'll say is that you're talking about long term. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I want that arm in left field.
That is that's interesting. Well, I mean, yeah, it's 400 feet out to left field. His arm should help in theory, right? But
how weird is it going to look seeing 99 in left though?
Oh, it's strange.
It's never happened before. He's never played left field. There's no way.
No, not that I've seen. Not to my knowledge.
Why did that just totally make tonight feel so much more special?
Well, let's be clear. The reason that this is happening is the Yankees are committing to Juan Soto not moving, being an anchor in right field. He's our best offensive option as of now. He's the guy that at Yankee Stadium, at least, we do not want Juan Soto, who's not really known for his glove. He's more of I'm going to try to get a good jump and make the right reads. I still have an underrated arm, but putting him in right field is a much easier defensive assignment than center or left at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees are committing to that bit. They are. So having said that,
this is at Camden Yards, just so you know.
Yes, but no, but still, if you think about it, putting Juan Soto in right field at Camden Yards, you're basically saying we're not going to just move you around the field like you're DJ LeMahieu.
Exactly.
Juan Soto in right field and making sure that he's comfortable out there. So I like that. This lineup is so interesting because it basically is saying we do not want to take Giancarlo out of DH. That's what this was. Because normally, remember, last time this happened, they put Aaron Judge at DH in this situation. They put Grisham in center field, but then they had Verdugo in left. Well, now that Verdugo's gone, they just threw Judge in left.
Man, I don't know how you give Trevino a day off the way he's hitting. I want him in the lineup. It's funny. I mean, I think I would probably, if I was doing it, and I actually like this, but if I was doing it without knowing that this was even an option, I would have probably put Stanton in left field. That was
there. It's just not worth the risk, man. That dude, you got to put him on like a Home Depot scooter to keep him healthy out there in left field. It used to be helpful for him to like move around and run, but it's not, man. I think Giancarlo even knows that it's just too much for him to be running out there in left. In
Yeah,
Baltimore, do you know what Giancarlo would have looked like in Baltimore running around in left field?
that's true. I was flashing back to when he was.
He would have looked
You
like a
already
Wii fielder.
you already know where I'm going with this. I was just flashing back to the one where he's jogging past third and he's out by a freaking country
Come on.
mile, and he was almost safe because of how bad the tag was.
Yeah, no, Giancarlo can't be in left field. Not
No,
in Baltimore, no way.
you're right. You're absolutely right. So I'm gonna definitely enjoy tonight because Judge being in left, it's like the idea of seeing something new is also really intriguing to me. I think that's really what it is. And honestly, I mean, seeing Austin Wells that high in the order, what if that helps him out? Like maybe his confidence, it's like you're constantly batting at the bottom of the lineup, but now it's like you got Stanton in front of you. That's interesting. You know what I mean? You got you're in between Stanton and Torres is now hitting well. I still don't really know what they're doing with Oswaldo, but you know, um, yeah, I like the lineup. I mean, I just wish Grisham had a better bat. Is all. Although to be fair, last time he played, didn't he have a home run?
I think so. I don't know. I mean,
Last time he played pretty well. So I mean, I'll get off his back for now.
thank you,
I,
DV. He says if Stan was in left field, Baltimore, they'd get an inside the park homer. Yes, they would. At least triples. And it's not an
oh
easy
my
assignment. I
god,
mean, let's be honest. It's a tough assignment out there, but Giancarlo Stanton physically is not what he was.
no,
Come on.
no.
He's not able to move, and you need to be able to move in left field to be able to cover the ground out there. So do I want to see that? Actually, kind of, yeah, I would like to see it. It'd be pretty funny, but not if you want
As
them to
long as you
win.
were given assurance ahead of time, don't worry, the Yankees win this game. But you will get to see Giancarlo having a cover. Um, yeah, I think they're winning tonight. I feel good about it. I
I
like
hope
this
so.
lineup. There's no hoping. There's only doing, and they're gonna win tonight. You heard it here first.
Yeah, well, if I was hitting eighth, I'd probably be talking differently. But I'm just sitting here with a $400 mic. I don't get to play, so all I get to do is hope and then hop on the pod. But
That's
yeah, no,
funny.
I love the confidence. We have reason to be confident coming into this game. Love the matchup. Love the lineup, actually. Very interesting. I'm not sure about this whole Austin Wells hitting sixth thing. That's interesting. Maybe they're rewarding him. Who knows, for kind of
Boone
making
knows
the right
something we
plays.
don't. I'm just gonna say it right now. I feel like
I
Boone
hope
knows
so.
something we don't.
Yeah, I hope so. Glaber Torres swinging a hot bat, hitting right behind him. So maybe Glaber Torres swinging a little hotter of a bat will protect Austin Wells in this one, and it'll work out for us. So
Are we
I
serious
believe
right now? By the way, once they
that.
start all hitting, like you're talking about, like imagine Austin Wells, like the hard contact eventually works out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Torres hitting seventh, Oswaldo Cabrera hitting eighth. I mean, this is one of the best lineups in all of baseball, and Verdugo's not even in there.
Yeah, the only weak spot is our 9-hitter, and he's only
Yeah,
playing because someone's having a baby. So
yeah, and I mean,
good lineup.
the depth is going to be insane soon. Sounds like both birdies will be back soon. John Birdie is already doing his rehab assignment, and they expect Nick Birdie in the bullpen to be back soon. He was great. That was a really annoying loss because he was really pitching well. He's got some great stuff, and he's fought through injuries throughout his career. So if they can get him back, I mean, I think they expected Nick Birdie, to take over as kind of like the Loizaga role, if you will.
Right.
So I think getting him back is going to be huge. And I think John Birdie's going to be great because then you'll have, more, depth on the bench. And, then we're talking about Jason Dominguez, and Peraza sounds like he could be back, at some point. So, yeah, I mean, the Yankees were supposed to have good depth. They were supposed to have too many cooks in the kitchen. And now it seems like there's really not enough, to the point where like Trammell is playing yesterday. And,
Yeah, I just hope that we don't get a situation, because I want depth. Don't get me wrong. I
yeah,
just don't want a situation where Birdie is like splitting time with Cabrera and they're making
I
decisions.
think we've gone past that point.
We hopefully.
I mean, Cabrera, I understand he's not hitting like the cover off the ball like he was earlier in the year, but I'm still very impressed with what he's put out there. The
Yeah.
body of work. And man, people get on him for his defense, and I'll tell you, his defense has been great this year. And the ones that he can't field are like ridiculous. I mean, that ground ball yesterday that ended up being a base hit. I'm glad it was a base hit. If they ruled that an error, I would have been pissed. It's like the ball hit like the beginning of the grass in the infield, and like did that one like the die roll, like it
Oh
barely
yeah,
like
it
roll.
hit the collar. Yeah,
Dude,
that's what happened.
and it's like, well, what do you want him to do? And then you have people on Twitter like cussing him out. It's like, all right, you go play that. Because I can tell you right now, you're not making that play. I'm not making that play. And it's
Well, I'm
like,
not going to complain because
yeah.
regardless of if he makes the play or not, he's our best option by far. We don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
dirty lefty, righty. I don't give a damn who's pitching. We don't have a better option. So let's be clear. There's a difference between just cheering people on and being like a weenie and not criticizing them at all. And then there's a difference just like over criticizing. Guys are going to make mistakes. If we watch every game, they're going to make mistakes. But who are these guys over the course of a season? What do we expect? Like, yeah, we're bringing up DJ LeMahieu. Having DJ LeMahieu is probably a good problem to have, but at the same time, I don't want him to just be forced into the lineup and then be like, well, he's struggling. What do we do with him? He's getting paid. I don't really want that problem on my hands. I kind
Yeah.
of just want guys who play well to play. And like that's the beauty of having young players play, because when they stop playing well, or you have somebody else that is just playing better than them, you just say, all right, well, come sit next to me. Come, you can sit right here next to coach. And this other guy is going to go play for you. Like Wells, for example, we were asking him to play, and then Trevino starts playing better, and we are not freaking out that Trevino's winning the spot. We don't necessarily have financial constraints to put him on the field. So yeah, that's what I mean by, I guess, my worry with Birdie coming back and DJ coming back. Good problem to have, but I'm just making sure that our coaching staff is making the right choices.
No, I agree. Definitely agree with that. To wrap this thing up, Thomas Edwards, DJ, or Waldo, who would you rather have? I think you and I both know we're going with Waldo.
Yep.
DeBoy Wonder, my guys love the show. Got to dominate the Orioles this series. Thank you. And yes, definitely. Our guy Ronnie, shout out to Boone for going through the pen in a lopsided game on the eve of a Clark Schmidt start. Thumbs down.
Yeah, that was ugly.
DV, I was born in 01. Matt, they called up a catcher because they did. Okay, we talked about that. Then, yep, the Alex comment. DV, if Stanton was in left field. Okay, we saw that. And let's see. Thomas is going to be there for Wednesday and Thursday's games. Okay. So you'll be at Camden. That's cool.
Oh, Camden's beautiful.
I've never been there. I do want to go, though.
There's a nice aquarium outside. It's beautiful.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Also, when DJ comes back, do you sit Cabrera down and he goes back to utility? Absolutely not. To me, Cabrera is the best ability is availability. The last thing I'm going to do is sit down Cabrera, take him out of his rhythm in favor of DJ, who we know can't stay healthy. It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the season on this show. You know, I like LeMahieu. I hate to say it, though. I feel like he's in the way. You know what I mean? I don't. Yeah. He's not now.
Hey, man, how's your foot? Coach, it's a little sore. All right, well, we're going to sit you down. I know it's been bothering you all year. Hey, man, how's your foot feeling? It's finally feeling better. Okay, well, you see that guy over there at third base who's already playing well, and hopefully you play as good as he was playing. Yeah, you're just going to take his spot. Why? Because what you did 3 years ago.
Exactly.
Come on. Ridiculous. And Norman Soto, is there any news on Jason Dominguez coming back? Who will sit? I mean, our guess right now is that he's probably going to DH, given the fact that he's having an arm issue. You're talking about Tommy John. That's an issue that's no joke. We saw it with Bryce Harper in the DH role, and then eventually first base put less wear and tear on him defensively. I'm guessing the Yankees are going to do the same thing with Dominguez. So, yeah, we're going to expect him probably next year to just be slotted in at DH and then eventually work him in to the outfield.
Although he's been throwing. So yeah. I wonder if they try to get him as like in the infield. Maybe he plays second.
That would be interesting. I mean, I don't know if he has reps over there to be serviceable. And of course, it's not as easy as Mookie Betts makes it look. So
I know.
Mookie's like, where do you need me? Short? I'm over there. I'm making backhanded plays. The dude's just not human.
Yeah, that's exactly. Going from the outfield to the infield like that is not easy. But yeah, I mean, that's something we'll have to figure out. I'm sure they've already gone through this stuff because, I mean, you think about it, it's like, hey, we have a surplus of bats. And if you want to get in the lineup, you're going to have to work with us. Like, and the thing is, if Rizzo's going to hit well, which is great, I have no issue with it, then you're not going to be able to put Judge at first base.
Right.
So, now Judge has to stay in the lineup. Stanton is too valuable right now. So you can't take him out of the DH. To be honest with you, like, there's not really a spot for a guy that can only really hit.
No, not on this team.
So, I mean, Stanton, it'll probably be it. Honestly, no, because I can't justify taking out Stanton. I can't justify giving like Jason Dominguez at bats and having him share at bats. If Stanton is hitting well, like he continues to hit the way he's hitting right now, that would be a disservice to the team.
Well, it either forces Stanton to go out to left field. You only have two options here. You're either taking Stanton off the field altogether because he's not going to be able to take the DH spot from Dominguez, or you can go with the other option, which it seems like you're leaning towards, which is putting him in left field, right? In Dominguez. So you have one or two options. Either Verdugo's coming off the field. What's up?
What about Verdugo, though?
No, well, Verdugo just doesn't get to play. That's unfortunately when you have a guy, he's playing incredible. Remember, when I said that I wouldn't give him an extension, to which you agreed, part of that is because of Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones. Well, if you bring up if Jason Dominguez is ready, well, someone's not playing. And yes, you can easily talk yourself into Stanton doesn't play because he's not playing well right now. So then we can just slide in Dominguez. Well, what if Stan is hitting? Then where does Dominguez go? If Stan is hitting, then you're going to anticipate that you're paying him $32 million. He's performing. He's going to be playing. So who's the odd man out? The lowest paid player who's performing, and that is Verdugo.
I get that. Makes sense. I don't see Dominguez getting sent to AAA. I don't see that, DV. I think that the ship has sailed at that one, but I mean, who knows? Stranger things have happened. I mean, he could play in AAA for his rehab assignment. Certainly possible. But yeah, we'll see. We appreciate you guys. I don't know if you're aware, Gary. We hit a all-time high in
26.
I think we hit 28.
Oh,
yeah, we had 28.
Which is funny because we're gonna laugh at that in like 3 months. We're gonna laugh at it.
I mean, like I said, it is funny because, I mean, we've done back-to-back of these, and then over the weekend, I'm doing the draft, and I have 1,300 people.
Oh, it's insane.
It's one of those things, though. It's like, it's fun building something from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm really excited for our kick streams this summer.
You're probably most excited for that. Let's be honest. So you can go hang out with Alex and I.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest here. The college football game is coming out. Come on.
Oh yeah, I'm streaming that.
That Fallout. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's what happens when we do live streams. We'll talk about other things aside from baseball just for a hot minute. That's just the reality of it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I just saw Alex's comment. I was not ready for that. Oh man.
Verdugo wins that any day of the week.
It wouldn't even be close. I would just Stanton. Oh man. Is he in bubble wrap at least? Like, good Lord. I don't want him running at all. But yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll see how tonight goes. Right now, the Yankees are about as hot as a team can be. The last two games having 30 runs scored against a really good ball club. I mean, at the end of the day, the Brewers have been really good this year. So once again, going up against good competition, beating good competition, Now they have another really tough test against the Orioles on the road. We'll see what ends up happening. But I am Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. You can follow us on social media at Yankees Unloaded, at JK Bogan, and at Gary Sheffield Jr. So until next time, guys, you guys take care and go Yankees.
And also like this video.